On there. Hello, and welcome to UKversus. We are live again on Tuesdays because of the event over the weekend. I am once again joined by Richard Flashgin Plumber. I have not had a chance to update that to Wolfblood. I am still Brett Wrong to Go Pendragon, as this weekend I still kept playing Elder to Go. But Richard had a local qualifier over the weekend, so how have you been?
Flash Gin is dead. It was an experiment that didn't work out. So I was considering doing a little deck profile for the channel for it, but I didn't think it was good enough to bother. On that point, I do have some beef with Mr. David Toombs of Let's Talk UVS, who put Void down as one of the worst symbols in the game, and I won't take such slander lying down lightly. I love Void symbol. It's my child. I love it. So so obviously I didn't take part in the webcam because I had my local qualifier on Sunday, which was great. We had 10 of us, which is a great turnout for the UK.
Great turnout.
It was 4 rounds. I took Fire Wolfwood because I thought it'd be fun and powerful. We should have a deck profile going up once, obviously, my wonderful editor, aka Brett, has a chance to sort of upload it to the channel, just to sort of deck profile on that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I ended up taking it down, went 3 in a draw. We had Gin, we had my rounds were Gentle Criminal, which was tricky. They took a game off me just because they went Gently Theft into the thing that then carries the damage over and was just bashing me for that. And then I had, when we were playing against Void's Gin, which I just got, and then Cementos, which I thought would be good going in, and then I had the filthiest attack strings against him, and he just didn't stand a chance of triple Azure into Punisher's Beam into Trace Eyes, and then next game it was like Azure into Trace Eyes into Punisher's Beam into Ignited Arrow, and that was it. But the deck was a lot of fun. And then my last round was against Genkai. We ended up drawing that one. We went to time in the third game. Game 3, I went first and only built 2. I think game 2, he got me pretty good with a Searing Glacial Storm to sort of nuke half my stage, so I could never quite build high enough to sort of string hard enough that I needed to. Yeah, and then game 2, I just built 2, so just sort of clung on for dear life, and then eventually went to time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun event. Like I said, we had 10 people. Yes, we had Genkai, we had Jin, we had Gentle, we had Mount Lady, we had a Toga 3, Cementos. Who else did we have? We had Best Genist. I think I can't remember who else was playing, but yeah, it was Vash. So Brandon came down, played Vash. Yeah, it was just a really fun event, and got my Nats invites. That's all sorted.
Nice. I took part in the webcam regional. I only did 4 rounds, primarily because Flynn was getting hungry and was fighting Robin on anything that he suggested to eat. He wanted to go to McDonald's, but Robin didn't want to leave the house, and he was like, I want to go down there because he wanted to play on tablets. Mm-hmm. But I've done a deck profile where I go more into the event, but I was just playing a very, as For the Launders has put into the chat, a very annoying Elder to Go life deck that was primarily around gaining health. So It was rejuvenating, it was Spiral Blast, it was just sat there going, you've hit me for 6, cool. I passed turn back at full health. It's I think David Toombs described it as a 40 health 700 the way I'm playing it, and just annoying. I took Muriel to a draw. That's what was he completely smashed me game 1. Game 2, he was on 24, and I had to kill him or lose 1-0, and I managed to squeak out the kill. My other games, I was 1-5 check away from finishing it off, which is, if you're going to lose, losing to the poor Czech is the way to go, because every time it's time of the round, so either I kill you here or I lose, and that was kind of the way it went down, apart from my game 1 against Endeavour 3, where it was just a case of, this game's gone on too long now, I need to kill you, checker 3, die in the backswing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always one of those things. It's like, if you're in a position where if I check a 5, I win, you always go for it.
Yeah.
Like, the odds are generally in your favour, so...
I was playing for fun. All my opponents were absolutely amazing. I was a little bit worried going in following the stuff that's gone on that we'll go into a little bit more, like what the follow-up, that people are going to be a bit more jaded about webcam. I go into more about this again on the YouTube video we put up today, where I go over my deck and the event. But everyone was generally really good about everything, and that was really, really cool. Everyone was okay if you just questioned their setup. And when I was talking to David about it, I was like saying, what we need to do now is just hold webcam to a higher standard, and by higher standard I mean hold it to the standard it should have always been held to. The community just became very lax about what these standards were supposed to be, and UVS sort of like became a bit more relaxed about it, and it's allowed situations like this to unfold because the community was so good and so relaxed about it. That's a case of, now we need to find that good scaling point of being friendly, being cordial with each other, but not letting that impact the way the game gets played.
Yeah, I think, if you sit down to a round and you look at opponent's stuff and it's like, I can't read their cards, I can't see where their hands are, or, there's something going, there's something wonky with the setup. I think it's okay to not assume that's done in bad faith. And I think it's okay to say, hey, buddy, are you able to adjust your camera angle or adjust the lighting or maybe use a second camera? Or I think you could improve your setup a bit here. Yeah. And, if in doubt, call a judge. Like if they're, but, for them, I think, the vast majority of people if you say, hey, buddy, can you, alter your camera angle a bit? They go, yeah, I could call you. Sure. Because sometimes you don't necessarily appreciate it from your end when you set that up.
Against one of my opponents, we did have a little bit of trouble because the hand was just in frame, but when they changed it so the hand was always in frame, their string wasn't in frame, so we had to kind of find a good compromise there. But other than that, really well run event. I think Tam did a good service the night before by going live and showing people the kind of setups they should have been having. Speaking of Mr. Cardwell, huge congratulations to everyone here. For Tam, he had a hell of a week, and if anyone in that tournament deserved a W after the kind of week they'd had, shout out to Tam. Not to take away from the way he played perfectly.
Yeah,
but it was.
Yeah, I mean as I say, he played a deck that he's obviously working on for a long time, and a deck he really enjoys. And the results showed, right? And it's a sort of overall a generally quite aggressive format, so having a deck that can string out and defend against those strings and being able to crack back, one of those things Water's always been good at. And Tam's always been a good player, so it's great to see him get the results, and big congratulations to him. It was a really good result, especially given how ill the guy was. I don't know if you ever watched any of his stream, but the guy was clearly suffering. Was definitely not well at all. So managed to sort of power through and get the win in the end. So big congratulations.
Yeah, it was huge. It was only 2 Elder to girls made it to the top 8. It was crazy to see what was 28 people get dropped for not filling out the form properly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because it was a free event, right? I think a lot of people probably just signed up early without it, because they didn't have to pay. It's I'll sign up just so I can get my name in there and then sort of decide on the day sort of thing. Yeah. And obviously, I think there's probably a percentage of those people that decided to drop out because of the events of the week.
That's fair.
But it still had a reasonable turnout, right? We still had a decent turnout. And just at first glance, it seemed like the metagame was pretty healthy-ish.
I mean, it wasn't just that it was unlike the Wish tournament where it was all younger Toguros, it was a few Togas, a few bits of so the Wish tournament was a little bit different, for Launders in chat. everyone who had qualified for the Wish tournament was just chucked into the event. It was then they were dropped if they hadn't filled in the forms, but they had no choice about being signed up. Everyone who had qualified was signed up and then had to follow the extra steps. So it was a bit different than the RLE where you had to sign up yourself. In the Wish tournament, they just chucked you in there.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, the metagame, like I think like Toga 3 was one of the most represented decks, right? Like I think everyone went in almost expecting it to be younger Tagoro the tournament, but it just wasn't. Maybe he is. Maybe people just didn't want to play it. Maybe he is okay into a wider metagame. But yeah, like he still had results. There were still some in the top 8. I think the finalist was younger Tagoro. So he's obviously one of the pillars of the format, but I don't. At first glance, certainly from these results, he doesn't appear to be a problem.
It could also be a case of people not wanting him to be touched until the in-person RLEs next month, because if he's too much of an issue in the Wish and here, him or Azure could get touched in April. But for me, it's my solution to him was the exact same as Tam's. It's the exact same as what Sam Tate was saying. It's just you need to learn how to block better. And initially, I was planning to play Toga 3 as well. Couldn't get a hold of Deception Daggers. But for younger Tagoro, I was sideboarding All Might 7. Because once you block 3 things, you turn younger Tagoro sideways, and their battle plan falls apart.
Yeah, like, for example, in the sideboard is my Fire Wolfwood deck, which we didn't have any younger Tagoros, so they weren't a big thing, but I had the Todoroki secret rare, so they use it twice, then you just turn off their character. So there are answers, but like I say, it may have been a case of people weren't necessarily taking it quite seriously. I don't. But then again, there was a whole bunch of points riding on it, right? And those points are important if you are chasing worlds. If you're chasing those world slots, if you're chasing those invites, you're looking for points for sort of nationals and regionals and getting those. Like, there was value to doing well. So I don't think people would have just turned up, and just like, oh, okay, it's like a glorified locals. I'll play my meme decks. Like, I think people genuinely wanted to win, and maybe they felt that younger Tagoro wasn't it, or maybe they felt like everyone turned up with their anti-younger Tagoro decks, and then ended up no one actually playing it. Or they felt, okay, everyone's going to be gunning for the younger Tagoro, so I'll play something else. Like, we don't know.
I
but
don't
at the
think
moment, he's not a problem.
No.
I think he still could rear himself out, rear his head to be a problem. But I think it seems healthy.
I think it's the issue of we're once again in the Ojiro 2 sort of limbo. Younger Tagoro, so Ojiro 2 by himself, not an issue. It's the attacks he has access to, and how he could loop things like Texas Smash. And the same thing now comes from Azure, Trace Eyes, Val Seizing. The kit that younger Tagoro has access to is what makes him such a big threat. And as people pointed out, his health total is the biggest issue. He should have been a 5-hander, or he should have been a 27, 26 healther from how he builds. There was being a 32 health was just insane. But I think he's going to continue. He's going to get a lot stronger, especially when the Critical Role stuff comes out. I think we're going to see a lot more of him. I just think in the webcam event, because there's points on the line, but it's half points compared to other. So you're looking, unless you were convinced you were going to top, you were just playing for fun, and that's why a lot of people. I lost to a Shoto 3 deck. It was a hell of a game. But then you also had people, like I said, who were gunning for that win. But you had people like Kai, who was bringing Rinku. You had some people on Chu. You had some people who were just coming to have fun and play the game. And that's okay. You don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. You don't have to get better at something to enjoy it. You just have to enjoy it. And I really, really like that. I'm going to give Younger Tagoro a try. For me, he's kind of like encroaching on the Dabby territory in the way that I used to play Dabby last year, so I'm gonna have to give him a try, and I think for like next Tuesday I might give him a try at locals. Sorry to the locals, but the Patriot event are really cool. And speaking of Patriot, did you hear the news, Richard? Because I know you've been out and you've only not been back long.
No. Just sort of continuing that. As Ross says, like Younger is very good, but the death symbol being a little overtuned. Yes, I mean Death got a very big glow up. I think that's fine. I think Younger Tagoro himself is overtuned. I don't think he's anywhere near the problem OGO2 was. Like OGO2 gave far too many stats on face. I think OGO2 was a big part of that problem himself rather than his kit. But he's just got a bit of OGO2 vibes and a bit of like Kirishima 2 or Kirishima 1 vibes where he's like building stuff down and free building. So yeah, I think he is a bit overtuned, but we'll see whether he's too overtuned, right? But yes, no, I didn't hear the news, so yeah, so feel free.
We have directly impacted a change to the hourly coming in April. So
okay.
I was talking to Richard, the owner of Card Goblin, about his singles and about his pre-release kits. So we'll just have a nice chat. He's talking about how much he wants to get a bit more involved in the community. And there are lots of single markets out there. We've got UA Rejects, Big Orbit Games. I can't remember. I always get the name of the Red Riot one messed up, like Red Flame. I know there's some more in the works, but generally they're all run by players. So like JP isn't going to drop out of an event to sell singles. So I was speaking with Rich and I was just like, have you talked to Sean about selling singles at the RLE? He's like, I didn't, because he's the store owner, I didn't think he would let me. I was like, yeah, well, if you go to last year if you went to a Rochester RLE, Legendary Wolf would still be there selling singles.
Yeah, it may be a case of you can't sell sealed product or accessories and stuff, i.e. stuff they sell at retail in the shop.
Yeah.
But to the best of my knowledge, Patriot doesn't sell singles, so
that's what I literally said to him. I was like, speak to Sean. I was like, Sean's a pillar of the community. He'd probably be really down for this. And he's like, as long as you don't sell anything that Sean's selling, he's going to be down for it. And then it was announced today that Card Goblin will be providing singles at the April hour release. So if you need last minute cards and you can't get trades, or you need something extra for your deck, Richard's going to be there. He's going to be there with all the singles. And apparently something Patriot does for other games already. They let other single sellers come in and for like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and stuff. So I really like this. I think this is a great progression of our release, especially with UVS going to be turning up to them this year. Having a single seller, having someone there selling singles when UVS comes in and like when people are getting the footage and stuff, I don't want to makes us look more legitimate. If that
it's always nice to have a vendor at your event, right? That's a great part of it. And obviously, speaking of regionals, UVS games, I'm still available for commentary. Please hit me up if you want to.
You're qualified now, aren't you?
I am, but also I'm also trying to save money for a wedding, so therefore I might not be able to afford the travel otherwise.
That's a good point. I want to go to Spain. Yeah, if you want some local commentary for the UK release, you don't have to fly people out, or you don't have to do those webcam interviews, so you don't get to actually do like after round interviews. I mean, we're available. Dobbers are available. Wazzy is probably available. Just hit us up. It's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for this.
And also, I promise to keep the potty mouth if I'm commentating.
We will be respectable and cordial.
Exactly. I'm a wonderful human.
I really like Card Goblin.
Again, so, if we want these businesses, these singles traders and stuff to thrive and have them there as a resource for the community and have availability of singles and stuff in the for the UK market, support them. Check them out on their shop. I think I bought stuff from Card Goblin before, I'm sure. But
I'm getting my Critical Role stuff from them because they were doing they were doing one of each for like $48, 48 quid.
Well, I mean, my sealed product comes from my LGS because I've got to support my LGS. So,
but speaking of Critical Role and local game stuff like that, I messaged Paul and I messaged a couple of people in UBS. Critical Role has caused quite a stir in my local area. Unfortunately,
Okay.
nobody wants to learn the game yet, but it's a good progression because people were like coming to me and they're like going, "I've seen Critical Role. I saw UVS on there, they were coming to me going, where can I get this product?" I was like, "You're not gonna get it from Caleb and the boys in town. They don't stock it. Unfortunately, if you ask them, they might be able to get it in, but you're gonna want
I
to go
hear
here, go
Card
here."
Goblin's quite good for getting them.
Card Goblins sold out, and like most distributors now at this point have sold out. And if they haven't sold out on Friday, they're probably going to sell out.
Yeah, I think my locals, quick plug, Hastings Board Game Cafe and Museum. Come check it out if you want to head
It's
down
a
to
board
Sussex
game
area.
museum.
I don't. I think that was maybe a long term thing that Gary wants to do. I don't, but that's just what it's called. There isn't really a
Okay.
museum there, but obviously he has a huge board game library for you to use, a lovely little cafe, and obviously stocks Universus products. And obviously we play our locals there. So if anyone fancies a trip down to the Sussex coast, yeah, come and check us out. But yeah, I think he's getting 2 cases of these decks in. So I know a few of those have already been pre-spoken for. I'll probably end up just picking up one of each.
I've got 4 coming, and my friend Millie is very happy with that because I said my spare characters that she can have. She's a huge Critical Role fan. She's cosplayed Jester, and they were like,
Okay.
"What do you want from them?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. Honestly, they're going to be spare." I think with the way that the alt arts are working now, I think these are going to be over purchased by people because it's going to be very hard to get alt art cards. But the big thing is that Sam and Matt are going to be playing the game on Thursday in Everything's content, and that's huge.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm really hoping they've had really good coaching on the rules and know it. I can't imagine they won't have done. Obviously, they're D&D nerds, so they're not going to be like, it's not going to be a hard sell in terms of looking up, like, getting to grips with the rules. But I hope they've had some good coaching in place, from like, practice games with, like, whether that's like Levi or Jelly or Gala, or one of the UVS games guys has set them down and just sort of, this is how these are played. They will never put the alt packs on for Redemption. Sorry, Apple. They want to sell this product. It will never be on Redemption.
I think
Temple.
So this is going to be really cool, and I think what you're saying here is, at some point we then need to go get the This Is Content footage and go over it ourselves and point out where the optimal plays were supposed to be and what compared to what they did do.
I mean, not really, because obviously they're there to sort of showcase the product, right? It's not about optimal plays, but obviously it's great getting the game further out there, and obviously this is a big channel to have it on.
It's a huge
hopefully,
gap.
I think hopefully it'll grow the game. Fingers crossed. Like,
Critical Role, but I've posted it twice. People are very hyped about it. I was going through the comments like Sunday morning while I was waiting for Robin to get up so we could go to the car boot. And whenever someone was talking about like the card arts or would mention the alt arts, I was like, I wonder what the cards are going to look like in there. I'd pull up the alt art Jester and not. I'd be like, these are the chase cards and stuff like that. I go for them. People were like, I'm sold. These look great. I was like, they're going to be rare. Be aware of that. But I was like,
I don't know. I wonder how rare they're going to be compared to the alt art characters in the Trigon Bebop ones.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be just as rare, but
it may be because there's fewer alt arts, right? So maybe or maybe not. I mean, it remains to be seen. We'll see.
What there's 16 alt arts, but you only get 1 per pack. That's the issue.
Yeah, but I guess I understand that the rarity of the characters and stuff, you only buy 2 of each, that buy more. You might not, right? But there are people who will want, like, to chase those alt arts and those foils. Will buy more. Like, I think Chris from UVS Academy is pre-ordered 4 of each because he loves Critical Role and wants to chase those alt arts, and that's great. And like, I still think they're a bit overpriced. But part of that chase and the reason for buying those mods is that collector's booster, right? To get those foils, to get those alt arts, and obviously we can debate till the cows come home whether that adds that extra value, but that's sort of what they're there
So
for, right? And
I'm gonna.
they will never be on redemption because
No.
that booster is sort of the selling point from it.
But what
right?
if that boost is the selling point? But what if, say, at the end of the year when they've got their 8 to 12 decks out there? What if, like, at some point next year they go, we're going to do a challenger booster box, and it's kind of like modern remastered, modern masters, like
Maybe
where you go.
I think
we're gonna
more
throw
likely is
in.
still. Sorry, go on.
We're gonna throw in 24 boosters that have 11 XR. You have 10 XRs from all the challengers, and then one alt art card. So you're guaranteed in this booster box to walk away with 240 XRs from all the challenger decks and 24 alt arts as a minimum.
It's a nice idea, but it will never happen. Several reasons. One, obviously, in order to sort of justify it, the price point will have to be prohibitively high.
Yeah, just like Modern Masters.
Secondly, and it's no, the Modern Masters is not the corollary, right? Because that was just sort of reprints, but it wasn't just all foils and stuff. So again, I don't know if you're playing Magic in this area, but if you I don't know if you played during Shards of Alara block,
no,
which was showing my age a bit.
That's World Block before my time.
I mean, it was probably 2011, 2012, 2010, maybe around that sort
I'm
of
going
era.
to say 2010 because it was Phyrexia in 2011.
Yeah, again, it's probably around that sort of 28 to 2012 area. I don't know exactly when, but anyway, they tried this in Magic where they did foil collector boosters, and that was you would get any cards from Shard of Alara block, and it would be an all foil booster. But it would be guaranteed foils, but it's just a mixture of cards from that block, and it bombed. No one wanted, and because they were really expensive for each booster, and no one wanted it. So I think the market for the amount of, I think the people that would want it would absolutely love it, but I think the amount of people that is far too few for it to be a commercially viable option for UVS, right? I think more likely is promos. So, for example, like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe an RLE instead of it being like a My Hero or a UU card, like we maybe get like a Critical Role promo for doing side events, something like that. Because obviously we had the Bebop one as part of the monthly play promos. So again, I think that's where they would maybe dip into the challenger decks for promos for various things, whether that's for like our store championships, whether that's for local qualifiers, whether that's for our, the monthly all art promo, whether that's for regionals, whether that's for nationals, whatever. I think that's the area more like to see them, because like I know obviously they've moved away from the plus ultra packs now. We've got monthly play promos. Big props to UVS Games for that. I love it. No more mechanically neat promos. Brilliant. Perfect. Top marks, 10 out of 10.
So, what, playing devil's advocate yet again, what if they did it for the webcam RLEs?
I think you won't get pricing for webcam anymore.
I get that, and but I mean, we didn't get any pricing at all, which it's understandable. It was a completely free to play event.
Mm-hmm.
But if they just chucked in some of the if they just gone, top four get top four get an alt art character from the Challenger series of their choice. Winners get all four.
Yeah, I just don't think. I mean, again, like for the in-person RLEs, or I keep calling them RLEs, they're they're major regionals.
Yeah, regional.
For the in-person major regionals, I can see any of the cards from like challengers or booster sets being on the table in terms of promos for that. I think you will not get pricing for webcam tournaments from UVS Games anymore. For two reasons. One, logistics, right? And I think it's obviously a big overhead for them to send all this stuff out. And it's quite possible that they do it at a loss when running those tournaments. Second of all, and I guess maybe this is a segue into the dramas. Obviously, webcam is a little bit more rife, I think, to nefarious play, and it's really hard to take that back from a webcam tournament, right?
I mean,
so I think that's part of maybe the reasoning. Again, I might be just reading into it too much, and it might just be a purely logistical and financial thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the drive to have it no pricing and just leave it open for anyone to enter, right?
With everything that's
and
going
also
on,
there's an extent to which it's a sort of almost like a make-up for those that don't have locals as a way for them to qualify for the major regionals, right?
Yeah.
So just make it's free, you don't have to pay for it, and it's kind of like a make-up for that stuff where they don't get to play in locals because they don't have one, but they can still go along to these things and do well and qualify for the major regionals.
You still need to attend one locals. You only get 1 point for regional, for webcam regional.
Oh yeah, but if you do well, right?
No, you still only get 1 SP. You get more CP, but you only get 1 SP for the entirety of the webcam regional.
I thought it was all SP and then it just transfers over to TP.
No, you get... So when it was explained to me, you get 1 seasonal point no matter where you finish in the webcam regional. It's the competitive points that you get, which are halved compared to in person.
Okay, that might be my bad. But yeah, it's just... I just don't think they'll do pricing anymore because...
It's a shame. I did like the webcam pricing, but... With everything that's gone on, it does make perfect sense that they've kind of moved away from there. And with everything that's come out with what Tam was talking about on his stream, and then the fact that people are going back and have gone back as far as like nationals, in the webcam nationals from 2022, it makes sense that they want to kind of like keep webcam as a more casual and fun competitive style, because
I still think you want to keep the integrity of the event, right? You still want it to be competitive, but you don't want it to be so sweaty that people think about steeping to those, methods,
taking everything that's gone on at face value, the drive to be competitive could force a person to drop a card on the floor and go, I need to play this. I overdrew. I know what's going to happen. I'll drop a card on the floor, keep playing, and nothing will come from it. And you get in webcam, you can get, if you tried that in person, they're going to be like, you dropped a card, mate. Oh, yeah. And then that would highlight you've got too many cards in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And It's just is what it is. I think we'll touch briefly on it now. I don't want to dwell too much on specifics.
There's no point.
That's already been done to death, right?
There's no point beating this dead horse any further. It is very tender.
Ultimately, I think the right result has happened and the correct result. And I think fundamentally, UVS Games communicated exactly as much as they should have done, given what we know. Obviously, I just wanted to touch on, I guess, the human element, and I think that's something that got lost in all of this. I think people need to remember people are human beings, and treat them as such. So from two sides, obviously those that ended up copping a ban, obviously, I don't agree with their actions, but I think you also do need to remember they are human beings, and this will be a hard pill to swallow for them. And treat them with grace and kindness, and so on and so forth. There's no need to sort of jump on their grave, so to speak. I think these things can be hard from a mental health perspective to cope with, and I think you just need to remember they are human beings. You don't have to condone their actions, but that doesn't mean you need to be a shitbag about it.
Going on the other side of that is, remember, UVS are human beings. As everything I was
going to get to that.
As everything was going down, as it was all going on, I did message Lenoco, I did message Alex, I did message Levi, being like appreciating everything they do, and asking if they're okay with all this blowback that's going down. and just saying, if you just remember to take care of your mental health, because
Yeah.
they're players. They have passion for the community. They're going to be hurting from this just as much as we are. Just because as much as people may have issues with UVS, they are still people and they have their own issues, and
Yeah, and it's the
compound
livelihoods,
stress.
man, right? And that's it. It's like, they're calling for people to release the footage, release the footage, or whatever. Like, it's like, no, you've got to remember there's two parts to it, right? You've got the sort of the corporate entity of UVS Games, right? And they'll have their guidelines and things they need to do in terms of, okay, we need to maybe consult with legal departments, or consult with internally in terms of, okay, what's the right approach? Do we think this is correct? Are we certain? How do we handle this? And they will have their internal process for dealing with that, right? And then all the employees under that have to follow those guidelines from like the head down. And you need to remember that it is their jobs, it is their livelihoods, and it's their passion. Like most of the people that work for UVS Games, like, they're passionate about I'd say if not all of them are passionate about the game, right? And there is an extent of they're just following orders, but because it's their livelihoods, right? It's their job,
Yeah.
So, and again, you need to remember these are people; they are human beings. And then there's obviously there were a lot of people that came out in defence and sort of I don't want to say they rioted, but they sort of did. There was one group which was effectively their close friends who obviously defended them, and I would say they were the ones that didn't really riot. They just asked. They just sort of, they were in uproar and they were upset about it because they believe their friend, right? And that's totally understandable. Most people were just fucking bandwagoning because they love to do it, and those people just need to grow up a little bit and behave a little bit more adult about this stuff. Yes, you can be upset about it. Yes, you can have opinions. That is all totally fine. But be an adult about it, man. Like, just try and, again, be kind to people. Be reasonable about this shit. Try and think about it. And just don't let the fact that you're on the internet and can spew whatever nonsense you want on Discord and Facebook and whatever other social media, sort of don't succumb to the goblins, right? Just be like, it's okay to go on there and say, hey, I don't agree with this decision, I think you should communicate better, blah blah blah, but just leave it at that, man. Just like, again, raise your concerns in an adult fucking way, and then let it go and let the dust settle as it may.
And the same can be said to the people that are now scouring through hours of footage to find more instances to bring up. It's done, it's dusted.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to happen. People are always going to be like trying to be internet sleuths, and like there's an extent to which I can sort of understand that, certainly from a perspective of, if you played the guys in question, if you've played them previously and you want to you want to know whether you've got cheated, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's obviously been a bunch of situations previously where things have been questionable, perhaps, that at the time maybe you let go because you want to trust people, and intrinsically you want to trust people. And I think UVS Games sort of had that approach as well, because we know Jose got a warning previously from UVS Games saying there's some sort of sloppiness at play that you need to clean up, right?
Yeah.
But I think once it comes out that there is a definite cheat happened at some point, you sort of then just need to apply Occam's razor to the rest of it and say, you had the benefit of doubt these at some point. You can't really have that anymore.
No.
And it's really unfortunate. And unfortunately, that's what sometimes the pressure of wanting to win does, right? Especially if you taste that firsthand, like the first time you taste that, like the first time you win really hard. Again, if you look at it, I can imagine it's just really, really easy to think, you want to do everything at any cost, and it becomes really easy to give into that temptation, right? I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like when I thought about signing up for UK Nationals, like the one where I came in top 8, part of the reason I didn't want to do it is because I felt like it's going to be a Wild West. And I did again, I didn't really consider cheating, but I did sort of have that thought process of like, how would I, right? How would I go about cheating?
Yeah, it's just the intrusive thoughts of
exactly.
where
And
could I stack
I
a
would never
card?
ever do it.
No.
But and it's just sometimes that pressure of wanting to do well, that pressure of wanting to maintain success, sometimes gets the better of people. And I think you just sort of sometimes need to remember that, and remember that again, yes, they did a shitty thing. They're fucking human beings, man. Treat them in kindness and grace, and you don't need to condone their actions. You don't even necessarily need to forgive them, but you don't need to be an asshole about it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, again, their friends are going to be feeling hurt by this whole thing, and they're obviously going through it as well. So again, just in general, doesn't matter who, treat people with kindness and grace. Yeah. And that I think that's just should be everyone's approach to everything.
Like you said, I can understand how it's come about, and even if it didn't start out with cheating, it becomes a perpetual motion machine of the more the winning happens, the more you expect it to
and the
win,
more you get away with it, man, right?
Yeah, and
the more it's like, I ain't getting caught for this shit. Why would I stop? And again, it's just probably so easy to get caught into that, right?
I'm not saying that anyone has to forgive Omar. I'm not saying that what Omar did was correct. I played against Omar myself during the Wish tournament, and his cheating was very blatant on the stream. And it's very weird that it wasn't picked up by the judges at the time, but they were very busy and very stressed out. But fair play to Omar. He got his ban, and then he wrote out a statement saying how he let the community down, how he let himself down. He's still a young guy.
I think Omar's a young kid, right? He's what, 18, 19?
Yeah.
And in theory, that's you're an adult, but frankly, that's in old man terms. Over here, you're still a kid.
Kids make mistakes. It's on us as the older generation to go, okay, take your lumps. If you come back into the game, perfect. But you're gonna have to serve your time. But it's just fair play to him for holding his hands up, saying, "I did it. I'm sorry. I will be better."
I'd say if you're gonna do something like that, maybe don't make jokes towards the end.
Yeah.
But he fair play.
But at least he held his hands up and said, "I'm sorry," and that is a very brave thing for him to do. He could have just easily walked away from the situation, held his hands up, or done stuff in private. But he said to everyone, "Share this around if you want. Do whatever you want. I'm sorry," and that is huge. And
I know obviously Bromley went through the ringer with this one because obviously yes, he's put a lot into this game, and they were two people close to him. And obviously he put out a statement about the whole thing. Obviously feel free to go read it, guys. I don't know what the link is, but I hope this isn't an event that pushes him and the unfun stuff guys out of the game, that they still want to engage in it. Because obviously they're a big force in the game, so I wouldn't want to see them just kind of move them out of it. Hope he's doing okay. Again, I don't really know the guy, but I know this would have been tough.
We had a good laugh. We had a good laugh in our games. Yeah, we had good laughs in our games. We had a lot of fun. That's why I was kind of a bit taken back, because someone I'd played with and had a genuine vibe with came out doing it, and it has made me question our games. But I'm not going to detail that.
I think from that one it was just a daft mistake. I think that one looks like a complete lapse of judgment.
But it happens. But again, just props for having the strength to own the mistakes and not try and excuse them away or try and find a way to gaslight the situation. Just having the strength to go, "I made a mistake, I'm sorry." It's great to see that in someone so young. It took me a long time to learn that strength of just going, "Yeah, I fucked up, it's my fault," rather than trying to hide just hiding the situation away, going, "Oh no, I don't know what happened. I fucked up. Sorry, I won't do it again." But
again, just everyone's human beings. Treat people kindly.
Yes.
Move on.
We have sat on this situation a lot, and I want to talk about promos.
Yes.
Because
we won't touch that subject anymore. And hopefully it never raises its head again.
Yeah, it's done and dusted unless something else comes out, because I know there's other people that feel cheated about events that have happened in the past. But I get a message on Saturday going, "Have you seen the news?" And I go, "No, I've not seen the news." It wasn't Saturday, so it was Sunday. Going, "Have you seen the news?" I go, "No, I've not seen the news." And then they go, "No, it was Friday, sorry, yeah, because I was trying to build my deck for Saturday." They go, "Have you seen it?" I go, "I haven't seen the news." They go, "Oh, check out organized play." I go, "Ooh, the RLE's alive." And then I go to sign up. I go, "You've not got enough points." And it comes up with a little thing in the corner going, "You've not got enough points." Like, that's cool. I go, and then the message goes, "Click learn more." And I click learn more. And I go, "You Dabby promo." Yes, the boy is back, and this is the first time we've had promos that haven't really featured the big three, like Bakugo, Deku, in some kind of way. We had the League of Villains one that kind of makes sense. It's a shame we haven't got Yu Hakusho stuff mixed in there, but I assume it's a licensing thing. But
yeah, it's either licensing or this is just kind of the last of the art they had. Obviously, from a purely personal perspective, I'd rather they weren't chibis because I'm not a huge fan.
no.
But other than that, they look pretty good.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just
Yeah,
belong.
it's again sort of strange why one isn't a chibi one, but like it is what it is.
It's also a side event one, because that kind of makes more sense. It does go hard, to be fair. It does go hard. It's still really cool as a full art. I absolutely love these. I think they're really, really cool. I think they're much better done than the chibi ones we got last time.
Yes, no, I will say that. These do look better than the previous chibi promos. I wish Fashion Icon was always cool, but you can't have everything.
That's fair.
And
this time, rather than getting the alt arts or like the golden cards or like the contender cards, this time we're just getting champions of the main three. We're getting Dabby 2, Endeavor 3, and Mirko as champion cards that just have a little victory in the bottom.
I didn't even notice it was Dabby 2. I assumed it was Dabby 3. I didn't even
it's Dabby 2 because it's a 700 for 19.
Yeah. Obviously, I assume everyone's making sure Robbie. I think is it Robbie that is never getting a Mirko.
Oh yeah, no. He's now trying to desperately try and find a way to come to the RLE. He said he needs to win to get that. He's a good friend of mine, so I might try, even if he can't come, I'll try and pick him up in a one, because most of his money's now being saved towards getting every single Mirko Chrome there is.
That is fair.
There was a few people kicking off. I know Ellie was a little bit sad, and the former EU champion was complaining that there was no participation mats. But
again, it just sort of keeps costs down for entry. I think that's why.
You don't need a map for every goddamn event.
People don't really care about playmats, right?
No. Well,
and also, like,
some people do care.
From a financial perspective, they are putting out a lot of playmats this year in terms of, obviously you've got the Critical Role ones, we've got the Godzilla ones coming up. They'll have ones like, why would they put them at the tournaments? They want to sell the ones they're putting on the shelves.
It's also
I get it.
It's also a transportation thing, having to transport hundreds of mats around.
Yeah,
that isn't needed. And like you're saying, for nationals, for worlds, I can understand a mat, but you do not need a map for every single event. Winners top top 8, sure, but every single person there does not need 4 promos, a mat, and the boosters and stuff like that. We've been spoiled on how much we've been given, especially like in the first year, how much NA got, and then in the second year we still were eating quite well. But I would much rather see these unique alt-art promos coming and playmats move back. Even if they did go, okay, yeah, we're going to do playmats, but they're going to be on redemption, and they're going to be redeemable for 500 points.
Well, it'd be 2,000, right? That's what the thing is. But again, the vast majority of people going do not care about the playmat, right? It just ends up in a stack of playmats somewhere in their games room, whatever.
I mean, so I think Guile has them hanging up in a cupboard. Murray and the Dobbers have like a wall of mat top loaders that they put them into. Mine are rolled up and just in a box. I've got so
Mine are on
many.
mine are on a bookshelf in the game room
Yeah.
somewhere. Like there are people who care about them. There are, but I would say the vast majority of people would happily pay less for entry and not have a playmat.
Exactly. Well,
And
the
and
entry's
if you want to do
same.
one, put it on sale, right? Just have an RLE playmat on sale at the event,
Yeah.
like that they
That,
can sell, and just say, hey, or just like you can pay, I don't know, £20 for entry, or you can pay £40 for entry, and if you pay the £40, you get the playmat. Job's a good one, and it's only for like the first 50 people that sign up get that or something, have that option. I don't know.
I think someone just messaged me saying that I think they've changed the way that the promos are being done to match what was the mixed format. So unless you top like 32 or top 50% the event, you don't get some of the promos, which like placement ones, which I think they
Yeah.
were still doing last year, but it might be a bit more cutthroat.
Yeah, I mean it was similar, right? It's certainly like for nationals, you got your back alley and your summon dark shadow and stuff. But if you
Yeah.
wanted like was it the quick create and the other one, the Araraka one, you had to come high, so that's fair.
Yeah. And
Like again,
yeah.
just having some of those promos have scarcity and thus value is a
I
good thing.
don't know how I feel about the top cut playmats. The fact they just say top cuts repeatedly on the back.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the big lettering just in the background. Yeah, I think saying it once would have been better and would have gone harder than that kind of wall of text.
Yeah. We got Gary in the chat saying, not sure what to give out our local games moving forward. Few foot arts, no one really cares. We'll just have to charge less and add. I mean, adding a booster to pricing is what Sean does for the webcam events, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys should be now on the command pigeon flock promos, right?
I don't know whether we've had those yet. I think we're still on the Inasa one.
Yeah.
I get it, but I think mechanically uniques are still just a bad thing for promos like that in general.
The main issue is, as Gary's probably trying to say there, is you get the issue of provisionals from last year, where you took part in the provisionals and you got one of each promo. So when it came to the second star provisional, you're like, I don't need to take part. I've already got the promos.
Yeah.
If you don't care about the alt art, you don't care about going to locals. But to me, I would still play for the love of the game.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, right? Is that you hope people are turning up just because they actually just want to play the game. They're not turning up just because they want to get the shinies. And I think ultimately, Gary, you're the shop owner. You should work out how it works out for you and do the best for you.
Yeah.
Whether that's charge a little bit more and there's boosters on the line, or however you want to do it, really.
You could try introducing some unique formats, like last week for the Patriot, because it was my birthday. We did a League of Villains member only event, which we didn't get too many people in, but it was still very fun. And I think unique formats like that are a very good way to go about stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I know people are still turning up to locals and stuff, right? As far as I'm aware. Unfortunately, quite often on days where I can't make it, but it is what it is. Yeah, the champion map looks nice. I'm not a fan of the big wall of text in the background.
No. It's good to see Kendo getting some love, and this is probably going to make Kai very anxious to win this map because big Kendo fan. Rob has said, Mr. Rob Gregg, the Mirko guy, has said he wants this map. I couldn't care less. It's a cool map, but it's just going to get rolled up and put in a corner if I win it.
Yeah.
The big news was we finally found out how the invites are going to work.
Yeah. And I think it's probably about what we expected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a certain expectation where it was like it was nothing. But especially with it being moved out to 64 invites to Worlds now, I think the expectation they were going to pay for full travel and accommodation for everyone was unlikely.
Yeah.
So there is just a $500 travel award for winning. Whether that ends up, whether they just give you $500, much like the winter warm ups, where they just give you the cash, and if you spend that towards travel, you can. If you don't, then you don't. It's sort of some of the sort of verbiage on it was weird, where it talked about being it pays towards a one-way ticket. I didn't really get that. Like, if I could get a two-way ticket for $500, I don't get all the money, but it was just a bit of a weird one. Yeah. But ultimately, you get $500 towards travel, and it'll be where it is. I don't think it necessarily mentions anything to do with accommodation. I would very much presume that isn't included.
I think the 500 is meant to get you there and keep you up there.
Yeah. Obviously a little rough possibly for the Oceania guys, because I'd imagine their plane ticket's a lot more expensive than ours.
Yeah.
And much more expensive than the internal US guys, but is what it is. So it's still free money for travel to Worlds at the end of the day. So
following on from that, I'm going to infer that if you get there on points, you have to pay your own way there completely.
I would be surprised if you didn't have to pay your own way there. It would be good if they would let people know that's the way, right?
Yeah.
Because I think at this point, maybe there's an expectation that there would be some sort of stipend, like that $500 for people who qualify in points. Because obviously there are people that are going to chase the points positions. And it'd be good if they would come out and say either way, like, actually for points things, there will be no travel or accommodation.
Before people start getting...
You just qualify. So it doesn't get someone in December, they chase the points, they say, oh yeah, there's no travel money for it. And they're like, well, I can't afford it without that money. What am I doing?
Especially for, like you're saying, the oceanic people who are going to be look at it and now going, I can't afford this, so I'm not gonna pump money into getting points. I'm just going to have to win at Nats and hopefully.
Yeah, and it's again, Nats might get you the full shebang, right? We don't know.
It should do. I can't see them change that anytime soon.
What's that?
I can't see them. I can't see them getting rid of the Nat side of things.
They quite possibly might do. Right? It might just be a case of if you qualify Nats, you get the $500 reward, and maybe if you win Nats, you get the full shebang. We don't know. Again, it might be one of those things they're still working out the numbers on internally. Who knows? We'll have to find out. Obviously, when they decide to release that info. Again, my expectation at this point would be if you qualify for your Nats, you get the $500 reward, and that's just it. But,
as people are saying in the chat, a new article has just dropped. It's about the PvE taking on the Briarwoods. That's going to be happening this weekend.
I know we've got I'm pretty sure Gary has our kit locally, so we'll obviously have to schedule that at some point locally. I don't know when. We're going to be doing that, but I think quite keen to do that locally.
Oh, yeah, it looks so cool. I know someone's trying to set up a TTS table for it. The card looks cool in itself. I'm going to have to try and get hold of one of them and make it to an event if I can.
I mean, if you can't, I can mug one from Gary, possibly.
That would be really cool. But,
20 quid to you.
But no, I mean... It's a new dawn of the game. I think,
and like the sort of the Briarwoods event, really really cool.
First Sunday in match. The first Sunday in March is already gone.
Yeah. Do you mean the first Sunday in April, Gary? You clown.
Do you mean the last? April, there we go. Even corrected man. So that would be the 7th?
Possibly, yeah. Because we've got another local qualifier coming up this Sunday if you wanted to travel down. I know Brandon will be there.
Yeah, so basically, this Sunday you have your qualifier and Sheffield have theirs. And it's a week too early for me because Flynn's school's a bit awkward and they're not breaking up for Easter holidays until Good Friday. So, yeah, so basically 28th Flynn breaks up for school. And then Easter Monday we have the local qualifiers at Southampton. And I get my second chance of getting hold of a Deku.
Okay.
I need that Deku. I also need to get my cards off Rob because I had to leave to pick up Flynn from the last one. So I need to go back and get those. But I'm really liking these smaller, more casual events that still have points on the line, but not adding the word provisional to them. It doesn't make them feel as competitive.
Well, I mean, provisional is just a My Hero branding thing, right? That's why they were called provisionals, because it was a My Hero thing, right? So they need to move away from that. They're local qualifiers. You win them, you get to go to that. So if you want to, it gets you points towards regionals. So, and then we got the local championships. I don't know. I assume you have those booked in, Gary. I don't know when that is. I think that's
May 4th or 5th.
Okay.
Which is a bit awkward for me.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously we got our second one for this Sunday. I'm considering playing Nezu. Shout out to Nick Chimino. Obviously he's put a deck tech out on that deck and it looks so much fun. And I'm very tempted, but I don't know what I'm going to play.
I'm going to hopefully pull some alt-art giant explosion, big freaking explosions over the weekend, and then I can just sit there and battle justice people. I'm gonna try. Oh, it has death. Do we play Barrel Justice Younger Tagoro? It doesn't need it. It doesn't need the damage.
Three attacks to me.
So we have a video coming out tomorrow from the tag format on TTS, where no, not tomorrow. So it's coming out on Thursday with the release, where I get one of these off like 23 damage.
Okay, I mean it's just the Bakugo attack, right, for Furies.
It is, and it isn't because it has the drawback, and thanks to the critical role kit, you have the chance to give this echo.
Right.
But that requires you having 3 momentum.
Like 3 momentum.
Yeah. Which isn't impossible on these symbols.
Yeah. And the chances of, like, Yahtzeeing yourself are reasonably low.
Can I point out that every Endeavour free list on Fire is going to be running this card?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just big damage, right?
It's a 7 speed. It's a 7 speed that just goes, die.
Yeah.
I am so hyped for this card, mainly because...
I mean, Wolfwood could play it. It's got ranged, right? So it could go into my Wolfwood deck.
Yep. I'm just looking at it going, Dabby 1.
Yeah. I mean, you play it on Fire. You get to play it with Cremation to snag that momentum. So
it has all the Dabby symbols. Dabby 1 symbols. I'm just looking at the one time that my opponent's going to have no throw hate, and I'm sending like a 6 high for 30 throw at them.
Yeah.
It's got no throw hate, and it's got
their stage.
Yeah,
or they'll say, okay, I don't know if there's any other answers to it. Possibly, I'll just cape it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no! The cops are here! Run!
You've incurred the wrath of Lenoco. What have you done?
Can I point out how good this art turned out? I did a really good job on this alt art card.
P.S. Brett, I don't get the joke for what it's worth, but sure.
Daniel AK got it. Nick Reagan, world champion, got it. So there is a group of gamers that have been around for about 12 years now called the Yogscast, and they play Gary's mod, Trouble in Terrace Town. And
Right.
basically, barrel justice is where you walk around with an explosive barrel and someone then shoots it when you're near someone and it explodes. And people got, for like a good year, used to get very angry about people walking around with explosive barrels because there was a role called the Jester that couldn't take explosive damage. So the Jester would pick up the explosive barrel and run around with it, chasing people, waiting for the barrel to explode. And
okay,
that's
why is there a shark?
So in Gary's mod, you can use different IPs and different like player models. So we have Sharky and Palp, and then we have Rivian. So we have Ben, Tom, and Rivian on the card, who use the player models of the Left Shark, Palpatine, and Phoenix Wright.
Right. Okay, I get it now.
Ooh.
And yeah, obviously they were there, and obviously alongside Tim Freely's article, there was an article from Will Howard, aka that Sugaraki guy, who obviously was a very kind guest on the channel a few weeks back. So yeah, he's obviously looked into some more of these Critical Role stuff and sort of stuff you can do with him. So
go give that a check out. I'm gonna have to message William and be like, hey, I consider William to be a very good friend, and he's put Dabby One in that, and I'm just gonna say he did that for me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I think Dabby One is a lot stronger than people have given credit with. He's doing everything that Younger to Go wants to is doing, but rather than him scaling in damage, he's just going everything gets free damage, and one thing gets to punch you in the face for a lot.
Yeah, except he doesn't cheat aggressive and has less life, and doesn't build himself and doesn't cheat building either.
I like Dabby One. Yeah. I'm never.
And also, Dabby One would be great if I was being allowed to play him.
Oh, Storm Blaze Dabby One is always fun. But yeah, I think.
Wait, does Storm play share symbols with Younger Tagoro?
Death, Life, Evil. No, not Life. Death, all evil. I think.
And Storm is Chaos, Air,
Void.
Shit. Well, close. There goes the Storm of Blaze Younger Tagoro dreams. But yeah, I mean, the other deck I was actually considering playing this Saturday is actually the deck I was going to play this evening if I had got back in time and played it was Zane's deck, because that looks super sweet, and obviously Zane's a great guy, and cracked at the game, and yeah, his combo Vash looked really sweet.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think as we keep growing and as more characters keep getting in, it's going to be very hard to predict what's going on. Because I mean, it's been just under a month since we had the last one, and we're now going to get 4 more characters injected before the RLE season kicks off. And these are all very powerful characters in themselves. I mean, I've only played a couple of games with Vex, Vac, Jester, and Not, and yeah, I can understand why Not has so much health, because 7-handers would not be able to stop him.
Yeah.
He needs more health as a debuff to what his ability says. I think it's going to be very cool. I'm very interested to see where these guys go from here. And then
I mean, I haven't looked too much in terms of building with the Critical Role stuff yet. Again, I'm very much I like to have the cards in hand before I start sort of messing around with them. It was similar to with Yu Hakusho, right? Yeah. I didn't really delve too much into it until I had the cards in hand, and that's sort of how my brain works.
But I've been doing some stuff with Caleb on the tag format, and it works well with the Challenger series. So we did some tag stuff with Challenger, but that makes sense. And Girl Power's coming soon. I'm so looking forward to seeing what else is coming from that. And
Yeah.
See this little course here. I'm really hoping we get another character card to spoil because I had so much fun trying to figure out what I wanted to do for Chew and like chugging this thing on screen.
If I have to do the reveal in drag,
100%.
know,
If we get like Midnight 2, I'm 100% jumping on a cosplay site and getting like a Midnight cat suit. Let's go.
Cosplay, BDSM site, potato.
If we get Mirko, I will literally just drive Richard over here, and not Richard. I'll drive Rob over here, and I'll have Rob next to me the entire time in a Mirko suit.
Okay.
But I think I'm really excited to see what comes up there. I'm also kind of glad for the break, like having the Wish Tournament and then the hourly back to back has been a little bit much. But at the same time, I was like, I really wish I could get to a local qualifiers this weekend. But
yeah,
it's good. It's gonna be good to have a break. And I'm really looking forward to Friday, where Connor and Greg are coming back, and I need to find at least one more person to play Guess the Card, because we're going to do all the Critical Role cards, and I doubt anyone's gonna.
Has Mike bowed out? Has he thrown a paddy?
No, Mike's unfortunately just busy. I did ask him.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and find a third person to go on there.
So yeah,
gotta ask Levi. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back from Levi in a while.
Washed up has been. Mike Hardiman, washed up has been.
You still have that saved?
I do.
Wow. Oh God. But yeah,
love you really, Mike.
I think David Toombs has had more shout-outs this episode than Mike has.
Yeah. Levi, if you're watching, we would love to do a reveal. We love you.
If we don't hear anything back by April, I might reach out through the official emails, being like, we'd love to get in on this. We'll happily put the wigs on and do some affirmations. I had so much fun doing the last one. It was just so cool.
Great.
But I think we got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that about covers it. I think there's just as a general metagame thing. I think it looks pretty healthy. I think younger could be a problem. I don't know whether he necessarily is. I think the fact that Recovery Girl is remotely playable in this format is a problem.
I will say this once.
I hate Recovery Girl, but I think she's fine.
I'll say this once, and I think people agree. Azur will get touched before younger.
Yeah, again, slight spoilers for my video. I did mention that I don't think it necessarily should be banned, but I would be amazed if it wasn't on a watch list. From internal stuff. So
it's definitely a watch list. And as people point out in Facebook, we haven't seen anything unbanned yet or unerrated.
No,
I think with younger to go around, One with Nature might be legitimate to come back.
No, that card was too good.
Back Alley definitely just needs to stay on that list. We need to die there.
Yeah, I'm happy enough Back Alley being gone. I don't. The only one I could see looking at was possibly Kirishima.
Kirishima 2 could come back because Overhaul kind of does the same stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe he would be fine to Anirata, but I don't know. So the Noko saying, I am playing Recovery Gold deck by locals, if that counts for anything. As a Mineta fan, I think that just says everything we need to know. But I do love you, really.
I think Fat Gum 2 got unjustly nerfed.
No, that was to fix the blatant rules loophole that wasn't really Fat Gum 2 related, but effectively broke stacking stuff. So that's totally fair. or else you'd have hawks picking up 4 feathers a turn and things like that.
So, there was one thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up that's just come back to me.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a terminology change to cards like EX and Powerful with Critical Role? Because Critical Role has now introduced the wording of spend a momentum instead of discard a momentum. So do you think we're going to see the wording changed on Powerful and EX to spend X momentum, X equaling the power to get.
And I'd imagine if they haven't done that already, it's just a thing they haven't got around to doing because it's just wording. So I'd imagine they'll update the rules at some point for that, right?
But then it changes cards like. Sense. So the impact of that is cards like Carpooling to Work, Ultimate Combination. They no longer work the way they're supposed to.
Okay.
Because Carpooling to Work says when this card is discarded from your momentum, remove it, add the top card of your deck to your momentum.
Yeah, so they might have to just put a little bit of functional errata for that. So Carpool to Work would be off if this is discarded or spent from your momentum, right? Some of those lines, and Ultimate Combination is fine. It just becomes spent the same way any other.
I think it's a great way to clear up like the issues with Ultimate Combination in Deku 5 that goes, I discarded a card from my hand. From this from my hand, I get to build it. It's like no, but so changing the terminology to spent.
Sorry, my dog's going mad.
I think changing momentum abilities to spend a momentum rather than discard a momentum is going to clear up a lot of confusion for newer players and people that were trying to exploit that wording of the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what it is, right? And it's discard has only ever meant really discarding from your hand. Yeah. So I think that's just an understood thing. So I think it made sense to change the terminology to spend. And I think, I think it's probably one of those things that they're just kind of someone might be working on and just going through the carpool and is like, okay, we've got to look at if we're going to do this, we need to like fix carpooling to work. We've got to fix.
And I think that's also why mill came in. Rather than discard the top card of your deck, it was mill the top card of your deck.
Yeah. So again, it's just clearing up that terminology. Again, these are all really good moves. They're good things to have done. And I think it's just part of that backwards overhead of going back and, okay, we changed this to spend going forward. It's not necessarily simple to change EX and Powerful to spend without looking at the rest of these cards. And, so I think there'll be things like Ultimate Combination where they don't necessarily need to sort of specifically call that one out because it's like whenever, because it says discarded to pay for your powerful ability, so it's kind of obvious that it's actually just spent to pay for the powerful ability. Carpooling to Work is probably one of those few ones where it works. I think it's designed to work for spending and actually remove, discarding from a momentum through an ability like, Absorbed Energy Spirit Strike, for example. Your opponent plays one of those, I think it's supposed to work with that, right? As well as on spending. So
yeah, I'm just trying to remember what the actual wording on Jester is. Because on Jester, their new ability is once per turn, commit one foundation. Your rival spends one momentum. Both players add the top card of the deck. So it's not even you can force your opponent to spend it as well. So I think that is a terminology change we're going to see coming in, and it's going to be things like protecting Yukina. I'm trying to think of other ones that have momentum as a cost. Will be errated to basically say rather than discard momentum, it's now spend the momentum.
Yeah. I think I think it'll be a change, but
it's not a massively
overhead they haven't got around to yet.
Yeah, it's not a massively impactful change as you're saying, but it's good clarification of things that people have brought up in the past. It shows that UVS are listening. It's active listening. They may not be letting us know they're listening, but by taking into, because change is slow. You can't just
And
immediately
that's
change
it.
it.
Again, if you look at the past 2 years, things have been gradually getting better and better. They've been addressing one problem at a time, right? And all these things they are fixing for the better,
Yeah.
right?
So like yeah,
And
with the
sometimes they don't necessarily get these things right, but then they fix them, and it's fine.
yeah, and I mean
Right?
the amount of like the ratio of lost to win decisions is very quickly swinging to UVS's side, and that might
Yeah.
be a hot take that some people don't agree with.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just the L's stand out bigger than the W's because that's how it works in life, right? You always notice the failures a lot more than do successes, right?
And
That's just how life works. Like when things are going well and things are successful, you don't necessarily notice them. The moment one person screws up once, it's the world's on fire because that's the one you notice.
it is, yeah,
It's just that's how life works in general.
in the end, we have a relationship with UVS, and as with any relationship, once things become heated, you're very quick to remember all the bad stuff that's happened, and very quick to forget all the good stuff because the good stuff you like. So you don't remember it as much because you don't have to be as wary of it. So you're very quick to drag up the past of mistakes.
I'm not like always completely complimentary, right? I think when they make decisions that I think are bad, I'll always mention the whole draft thing. I thought it was bad, but I put my opinion out there in what I tried to make in a sort of adult and sensible and reasoned way, right?
Yeah, mixed rounds. I went on a rant about mixed rounds for days.
Yeah, but that's because you're an empty.
I mean, I think the best example of walking the line. We tried to walk the line last week with our support and for both.
And partly that's because it was literally the news came out about 5 minutes before we went live, so we were just kind of live reacting.
David Toombs took what we were doing and then went to the next step and was. And some people are very quick to say David Toombs isn't critical of the company. He is. He just does it in a constructive way, and that's how you get your voice heard.
Honestly, I think part of that is because I think David's just genuinely quite a positive person. Yeah. That's just who he is. And I think sometimes that rubs the wrong way with some other people. And that's just a more personality thing. I think David's just quite a positive person. So always tries to look at things in a positive light. And that's okay. That's just who he is.
It could also be one of the situations.
He's just a positive, enthusiastic guy. Like, I don't know what you expect.
And in certain situations where yourself or your friends or you're in a situation you have no control over, you don't want to be heard. You don't want someone to try and make it better. You just want to get it off your chest. You just want to rant. And having someone positive, have someone positive trying to be logical in front of you, just makes you more angry because all you want to do is just get your emotions out.
Yeah. Anywho's.
Yeah, but huge congratulations to Mr. Caldwell. He very well earned. Great to see Asui once again dominating the format.
Yeah, and a completely fair deck, right? I don't think there was anything you can look at his deck and say, oh, that was busted, that was broken. It was just a completely fair deck that he played very well into a format that was reasonable for it. So
exactly, he blocked well.
errata Tamron Caldwell, and that's fine.
It was a great example of knowing your deck, having the reps, and knowing the format. He went into the younger to go matches, knowing what their lists were going to be, knowing what block zones he needs to hold, knowing how to play the game, and it all worked out well for him. And that's not much you could really argue for that. It was a beautifully well played game. It is.
Actually, so as Apple's saying in chat, he asked him to Tamron card not well. To be fair, he basically ratted himself because he wasn't well at all and still managed to pull the result out of the bag. So,
I think we're going to call it here because I'm going to be back
that covers it. Not sure what we'll obviously cover next week. Again, it'll probably be on Tuesday because I'll be crushing my local tournament.
I think now that we have 2 months till the next set, it's time for a tier list. We're going to have the critical role stuff in, so I think it's time for our post rotation tier list now that we've got all the characters we're going to have for the
We've
hour.
had a couple of results, right? So
Yep.
we sort of have at least a vague feel of where we are.
And we can do some wild speculation of the Critical Role stuff.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna have to play a deck with I Am Here in at the weekend. I love that card so much, and I haven't played enough of it. So
then you're gonna have to play Amajiki, because Amajiki plays I'm Here better than any other character.
I know. I might play Amajiki, but I need to play that card some more. So, anywho's, but yeah. So yeah, we'll call it there. Possibly do a tier list on Tuesday.
I'm going to be back tomorrow morning with Caleb for our tag. Last week he was a little bit ill, so it got cancelled. He's assured me he's up for doing it tomorrow. And then Friday, I'm going to hopefully be back with 3 people to play Guess the Card. If anyone in the chat is interested in playing Guess the Card around this time on Friday, do let me know, because it is such a fun game. And then we'll be back, as Rich said, on Tuesday, hopefully to do a UKversus standard tier list.
Yeah. So yeah, we obviously got a couple of videos coming up on the channel. Obviously, Brett's put his Elder to Grow list up there. Hopefully, my via Wolfwood will go up there shortly. In the next few days. And yeah, so just catch the next one. So yeah, for those watching on YouTube, obviously, thank you very much for watching. Click the like, click the subscribe, all that stuff really helps. Comment on the channel, videos. Obviously, next time, come and join us on Twitch. And to those on Twitch joining us, thank you very much as always. Great to have you along to chat along with us. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll catch you on a bit. Best of luck. Bye.